All right, strap yourselves in because today we're diving deep into Terry Pratchett's Discworld.
Oh, great choice.
It's a world that's flat, stands on a giant turtle,
Mm-hmm.
and just has more chaos than you can shake a stick at.
Yeah.
We've got some awesome sources on Rincewind and Twoflower and all their crazy adventures.
It's going to be a wild ride for sure, taking them from running cities to, well, the literal edge of existence.
Right, and all with that classic Pratchett wit.
Oh, definitely. Can't forget the social commentary woven in there.
Okay, so first things first, can you remind us about the whole Discworld setup?
Sure.
I always get a little mixed up with the elephants and the turtle.
Okay, well, imagine this. A flat disc world
Okay.
held aloft by 4 giant elephants,
Okay.
who in turn are standing on the back of a giant star turtle named Great Atuin,
Right.
all swimming through space.
I love it.
It's, ridiculous and brilliant at the same time.
Yeah.
It really sets the stage for a world where, well, anything is possible.
Like Pratchett saying, if you can accept this, you can accept anything.
Absolutely.
And into this world step Rincewind, our wizard who knows one spell and really would just rather run from danger than face it.
Yeah.
And then there's Twoflower, our tourist with a thirst for adventure.
Yeah, unquenchable thirst for adventure, I'd say.
And a never-ending supply of gold, apparently.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
They're such an odd couple, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
You've got Rincewind, the cynical coward,
Yeah.
and Twoflower, the eternal optimist.
Right. And that dynamic is really one of the things that makes their adventure so compelling.
Yeah.
Rincewind, he sees the world for all its dangers. And Twoflower, he's just looking through those rose-colored tourist guidebook glasses.
Right.
Expecting marvels at every turn.
And boy, do they find them.
Oh, they do.
Though maybe not the kind Twoflower's expecting.
Right.
And we start off in Ankh-Morpork, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And that city, well, it's got a bit of a fire problem.
That's putting it mildly.
It does.
It's infamous for its fires. Yeah. And this one's pretty spectacular.
It is.
The book actually says, Ankh-Morpork had once again lived up to its reputation as the only city on the disc that could burn down on a damp day.
Oh, that's a good one.
Right.
And amidst this raging inferno, we find Rincewind and Twoflower making their escape.
Yeah.
Although escape might be giving Rincewind a little too much credit.
Probably.
He's mostly just panicking.
Well, that is Rincewind's default mode.
He's
He's not your traditional hero.
not at all.
More of a survivor, really,
Right.
driven by that primal instinct to avoid danger at all costs.
And Twoflower is, well, Twoflower.
Of course.
He's fascinated by the fire.
Yeah, he's got his picture box out.
Yeah.
Snapping away.
Just marveling at the
Or
spectacle.
living his best life.
Right. And let's not forget the luggage.
Oh, how could we?
Twoflower's sapient multi-legged travel chest,
Mm-hmm.
fiercely protective of its owner,
Yeah.
and has this unusual habit of turning gold into copper.
Right. Always spitting out change.
The luggage is a character in its own right, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's a walking testament to Pratchett's ability to blend the absurd with the profound.
I'm still not sure if it's more hilarious or terrifying.
It's a bit of both, really.
It is.
One minute it's, trotting along like a loyal pet.
Yeah.
Next minute it's chomping on someone who threatens Twoflower.
And spitting out their change.
Of course. Can't forget the change.
So in the middle of all this, the burning city, the luggage rampaging about, how do our unlikely heroes end up on this epic quest?
Well, it involves a rather unhappy patrician,
Okay.
a missing insurance salesman,
All right.
and a barbarian named Hrun.
Run. Oh,
The
yeah.
classic Pratchett character.
Big muscles, tiny brain.
Exactly.
So what happens?
Rincewind, trying to, impress Twoflower, pretends to know Hrun,
Oh,
who just happens to stumble into the same tavern,
of course.
which naturally gets them into a brawl
Right.
and lands them in trouble with the city guard.
I can see where this is going.
But the patrician, he's a cunning one.
He is.
He sees an opportunity here.
Okay.
He learns that Twoflower is from the Agatean Empire,
Right.
a land where gold is practically worthless.
Yeah.
And he's worried. You see
Right.
the economic fallout.
Right.
If Twoflower returns home laden with gold from the legendary counterweight continent,
The counterweight con.
for the streets are paved with gold, supposedly.
Right. So the patrician's afraid Twoflower is going to bring back so much gold that it devalues their currency.
Exactly.
Talk about economic anxiety.
Right. Throws the city into chaos.
So what's his solution?
Blackmail.
Blackmail, of course.
He basically forces Rincewind into being Twoflower's bodyguard.
Okay. I mean, it's the patrician, so I guess that tracks.
He tasks Rincewind with keeping Twoflower safe
Mhm.
out of trouble,
And most importantly,
away from the counterweight convoy.
right, no gold. So with the luggage trundling along behind them, a very reluctant Rincewind in tow, Twoflower sets
Yeah.
off on this journey.
To the edge of the world and beyond.
Literally.
Literally.
I'm guessing they run into some interesting characters along the way.
Oh, you have no idea.
Like you mentioned dragon riders before.
Oh, yeah.
Where do they meet them?
Their journey takes them through the Hublands,
Okay.
a region known for its, let's say, eccentric inhabitants.
That's one way to put it.
They run into a troll, for instance, who charges a toll to cross his bridge.
A classic Discworld encounter.
Perfectly normal occurrence.
Right. And Rincewind probably thinks the universe is out to get him.
Well, he does say, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to think reality is a bit overrated.
Yeah, I feel that.
But their real test comes when they stumble upon the Wormberg,
The Vernberg.
home to the dragon riders.
Okay, and these aren't your typical fire-breathing lizards, right?
No, these dragons, they're manifestations of belief,
Manifestations of belief.
brought into existence by the sheer willpower of their riders.
So they only exist because people believe in them.
Exactly.
That's perfect for Twoflower.
Oh, absolutely.
He believes in everything.
All right. He's like a walking, talking embodiment of belief.
So while Rincewind's probably hiding under a rock somewhere,
Most likely.
Twoflower's right in the thick of it,
Of course.
completely oblivious to the danger.
That's Twoflower.
I bet this belief thing plays a big role in how their adventure unfolds.
Oh, absolutely. But before we get into that,
Yeah.
we need to talk about Liesa Dragon Lady.
Liesa Dragon Lady, who's that?
She's a woman who wants to rule the Wormberg,
Okay.
and she's not afraid to use any means necessary to get there.
So we've got a power struggle brewing
We do.
with dragons made of belief.
Yes.
And Rincewind probably hiding under a rock.
Most definitely.
This is going to be good.
Oh, it is. But to really understand what happens next, we need to delve a little deeper into this whole concept of belief as a power source in Discworld.
Okay, let's do it.
You see, in Discworld, belief isn't just a passive thing. It has a tangible impact on reality.
So the dragon riders literally will their dragons into existence
Precisely.
through the power of belief.
Exactly.
That's a fascinating concept.
It is, isn't it?
It suggests that we have the power to shape our own reality,
Mm-hmm.
create the world we want to live in.
But it also raises some interesting questions, right? Like what happens if people stop believing? Do the dragons just vanish?
Whoa.
That's a question Pratchett explores throughout his Discworld novels.
I bet.
He shows us how belief can be a powerful force for good and for evil.
In the case of the Wormberg, it seems like belief's being used to fuel a power struggle.
You got it.
Right, so Liesa, she understands the power of belief,
Mm-hmm.
and she's not afraid to exploit it.
Not at all. She's a pragmatist.
Which puts Rincewind and Twoflower in a bit of a sticky situation.
Yeah.
Rincewind, I'm sure, wants to run as usual.
Guaranteed.
But Twoflower, he's probably off trying to pet a dragon.
Twoflower is a fascinating character, you know?
He is.
He represents that unbridled power of belief.
Yeah.
He sees the world through those guidebooks, expecting wonders.
And because he believes so completely,
Those wonders often manifest.
it's like the universe bends over backwards to accommodate his naive optimism.
In a way, it does.
And it's that unwavering belief that allows him to do something truly extraordinary in the Vernberg.
Ah,
He manifests a dragon.
he does.
He does what?
I know, right?
I mean, I know he believes in dragons, but actually creating one?
It speaks to the heart of what Pratchett's trying to say about belief.
Right.
Twoflower believes so strongly, so purely. He
Yeah.
bends reality to his will.
It's like that saying, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Exactly. And in Twoflower's case,
He thinks he can, so he does.
he does.
But this newfound dragon, it doesn't exactly solve all their problems, does it?
It does not.
Things go from bad to worse, right?
They do.
There's that whole scene with a dragon flying off at the luggage.
Oh, yeah, the Luggage, always protecting Twoflower.
I can only imagine what that looked like.
Pratchett describes the Luggage as a small, homicidal suitcase with teeth.
Perfect. I love it.
But amidst all this chaos, Rincewind, well, he's trying to keep up.
He's not exactly known for his calmness.
No, he's constantly trying to reconcile his worldview
Mm-hmm.
with the increasingly bizarre reality of Discworld.
You know, surrounded by magic, gods, talking luggage.
It's all challenging his understanding of how the world works.
He's like the voice of reason in a world gone mad.
In a way, he is.
It's a tough job.
It is.
He's the foil to Twoflower, who just embraces the absurdity of it all.
And that dynamic, that's the Discworld in a nutshell.
Chaos and order,
Cynicism and optimism.
battling for dominance.
Always.
But eventually they have to leave the Vernberg, right?
They do.
And I seem to recall something about them falling off the edge of the disc.
That's right. It's one of those moments that perfectly captures the scale of Pratchett's imagination.
He takes these seemingly ordinary characters, throws them into the most extraordinary situations.
And all with a straight face, you know? You can almost hear him chuckling as he writes it.
There's definitely a sense of mischievous glee in his writing.
Oh, absolutely.
So they fall off the disc,
Yeah.
and I know this might sound silly, but what's down there?
Well, remember those elephants and the giant turtle?
Right. The elephants, I'd forgotten about those.
They get a much closer look.
Wow. It's a testament to Pratchett's world building,
It is.
that he can introduce a concept as outlandish as a flat world, balanced on elephants,
I'm a turtle.
and make it feel completely believable.
It's all part of the charm.
So they're not just falling into empty space.
No, the word.
They're falling into another layer of existence.
Just as bizarre and wonderful as the Discworld itself.
I bet Rincewind loved that.
Oh, he did not, but Twoflower. He was thrilled.
Of course he was.
He was seeing everything he read about in his guidebooks come to life.
What about the luggage?
The luggage never leaves Twoflower's side.
Right, so they're falling through space, past giant elephants, with a, homicidal suitcase in tow.
Yep, that's our heroes.
What could possibly happen next?
Well, next, they encounter the circumfence.
The circumfence. What's that?
It's a giant net
A giant net.
that stretches around the edge of the disc,
Okay.
designed to, well, prevent things from falling off.
Makes sense, I guess, when your world is flat.
On a turtle, yeah.
It's a testament to Discworld physics.
It is that such a thing is even possible.
But it's also a metaphor, isn't it?
It is for the limitations we place on ourselves.
Rincewind and Twoflower falling off the disc, encountering this circumfence.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they're confronting those limitations head on.
Exactly, and I think we're starting to see a theme here.
Yeah, what's that?
It's about challenging assumptions, pushing boundaries, and embracing the unknown.
And all with a healthy dose of humor.
Of course.
I'm sure this is a lot easier for Twoflower than Rincewind.
Oh, absolutely. Twoflower's all about those new experiences, while Rincewind just wants to run back to the familiar.
But they're bound together.
By fate, or perhaps something even more mysterious.
What do you mean?
You see, while Rincewind and Twoflower are stumbling through these adventures,
Yeah.
there's another layer to this story unfolding.
Okay.
The gods of Discworld are playing a cosmic game.
Wait, the gods are involved.
Oh, yeah.
That explains a lot, actually.
Right. And this isn't just any game. The stakes are high.
I bet.
The players are ruthless.
Ah.
The outcome could determine the fate of the Discworld.
And Rincewind and Twoflower are caught in the middle.
Completely unaware.
Well, maybe not completely.
True, Rincewind does tend to attract trouble.
He does.
He's like a walking bad luck charm.
That's one way to put it.
But there's also this sense that he's not entirely in control of his own destiny, you know?
Like he's being guided,
Mm-hmm.
manipulated
Perhaps even protected.
by forces he doesn't understand. Makes you wonder, are they really in control of their journey?
Or are they just playing out a script written by the gods?
Oh, that's deep.
And their journey takes an even more interesting turn
Yes.
when they end up at the Temple of Belsham-Harath.
That's the one with the scary demon god, right?
That's the one.
Not exactly a tourist destination.
Not unless you're into, existential dread.
So what are they doing there?
Well, remember how the gods are manipulating their journey?
Uh-huh.
It seems they have a purpose for Rincewind and Twoflower at the temple.
A purpose.
Yes, but before we get into that,
Okay.
we need to talk about death.
Death, as in the Grim Reaper.
That's the one.
He's a character in Discworld.
Oh, absolutely, and he's not your typical scythe-wielding entity.
Really?
Pratchett's death is fascinating.
Okay.
He's observant,
Mm-hmm.
philosophical,
All right.
and surprisingly fond of humanity.
That doesn't sound very intimidating for, death.
Well, he does have his moments,
I bet.
but he's also quite witty and often provides a unique perspective on the events unfolding around him.
So what's his role in all of this?
Good question.
Is he just watching Rincewind and Twoflower stumble about?
It's a bit more complicated than that.
I figure.
You see, Death, he's bound by certain rules,
Right.
but he also has his own agenda.
Okay.
And it seems that Rincewind and Twoflower's journey is somehow intertwined with his own mysterious plans.
This is getting good.
It is.
So, they're at the Temple of Belsham-Harath.
They are.
The gods are playing games.
Mm,
Death is lurking in the shadows.
yes.
And Rincewind's probably wishing he'd never left his room.
Oh, most definitely.
So what happens next?
Well, the Temple of Bel-Shamaroth, it's a place of raw magic,
Okay.
where the boundaries between reality and illusion blur.
Sounds dangerous.
It is, and it's here that Rincewind has to confront his greatest fear.
Which is?
The possibility that he might actually be a powerful wizard.
Wait, isn't that a good thing?
In theory, yes, but Rincewind has spent his entire life believing he's a failure.
A failure.
A danger to himself and everyone around him.
Right, so he's basically running from his own potential.
Precisely, and the temple forces him to confront that fear.
He can't run away anymore.
No, he's surrounded by powerful magic.
That must have been terrifying for him.
It was, but it also had a profound impact.
How so?
It forced him to reevaluate his beliefs about himself and his abilities.
The classic hero's journey.
Right. Facing your fears to unlock your true potential.
And what about Twoflower? What's he up to?
Twoflower is, as always, fascinated by everything.
Of course.
He sees the temple not as a place of danger,
That's
a source of wonder and amazement.
Oh, Twoflower.
He's even trying to learn some magic himself.
I can only imagine Rincewind's reaction to that.
Let's just say he's not thrilled.
But their adventures at the temple can't last forever.
True.
Where do they go from there?
Well, things get a bit complicated.
Okay.
There's a chaotic escape,
Mm-hmm.
a confrontation with the gods,
Whoa.
and a rather unexpected encounter with death.
Hold on. They escape the temple, confront the gods, and meet death.
All in a day's work in Discworld.
I guess that's why we love it, so tell me more about this escape.
Well, it involves a magical ritual gone wrong,
Okay.
a portal to another dimension,
Right.
and a very confused luggage.
Of course. And the gods. How do they factor into all of this?
Remember, they're playing that cosmic game,
Uh-huh.
and their game's reaching a critical point.
Right.
They need Rincewind and Twoflower to do something.
Something that will impact the fate of the Discworld.
Exactly.
And that's where death comes in.
Death is a complicated figure,
He is.
bound by rules, but with his own agenda.
Okay.
It seems their journey is connected to his plans.
I'm getting chills. This is also mysterious.
It is, and it all comes to a head in a climactic scene
Yeah.
where Rincewind and Twoflower find themselves face to face with death himself.
Wow. So what happens? Do they strike a deal? Do they cheat death? Do they even survive?
Well, that's what we're going to find out in the next part of our deep dive. Last time, we left our dynamic duo facing death himself, a rather daunting prospect, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. So what happens? Do they try to outrun him?
Rincewind would love to, but death, being death, has a way of catching up, you know?
I bet. So what's the plan?
Well, it turns out the gods have a rather, let's say, unconventional task for Rincewind.
Hey?
They need him to deliver a message.
Rincewind. A messenger.
The most inept wizard on the disc, chosen as their herald, the irony is palpable, isn't it?
It's like asking a butterfly to carry a brick.
But death, he sees the absurdity of it all,
I bet.
but also recognizes the necessity.
So he's not helping them, but not stopping them either.
He's more like guiding them, nudging them in the right direction.
Death, the cosmic shepherd.
He's the ultimate observer, you see.
Yeah.
He sees the bigger picture,
Okay.
understands how everything's connected.
That's pretty deep for a guy who reaps souls.
Well, Death in Discworld isn't your average Grim Reaper. He's fascinated by humanity.
Okay. Our capacity for good and evil.
So he's got a soft spot for us mortals.
I think he does. And he sees something in Rincewind and Twoflower.
Like what?
Potential, maybe, the ability to grow.
And possibly change the fate of the Discworld?
Perhaps, so he helps them deliver the god's message.
Does he?
Not directly, more like a subtle push, a cryptic clue to point them in the right direction.
So, classic death move, riddle is and letting fate run its course.
Exactly. He's not one for direct intervention,
He prefers to let events unfold naturally,
even if it means a bit of chaos along the way.
which Rincewind and Twoflower are no strangers to, so where does this cryptic clue lead them?
Back to Ankh-Morpork.
Back home.
You'd think it would be straightforward, wouldn't you?
I would, but this is Discworld, so probably not.
Not even close. They have to cross a desert, outsmart a tribe of nomadic warriors, navigate the counterweight continent.
The place where gold is as common as dirt, I bet Twoflower was in his element.
Oh, absolutely. It affirmed his belief that the world is full of wonders. And Rincewind. Probably terrified the whole time.
He had a few close calls, but through it all, he starts to change.
How so?
He's still cowardly, of course,
Yeah.
but more resourceful, more adaptable,
Maybe even a little braver.
perhaps, and Twoflower, with his endless optimism.
And belief in the good in everyone.
He's a constant source of encouragement for Rincewind.
They balance each other out, don't they? The yin to the yang.
They do. The interplay of opposing forces, it's what makes their dynamic so compelling.
So they make it back to Ankh-Morpork. Do they deliver the god's message?
They do, but not how anyone expected.
Is Discworld, should I be surprised?
Rincewind, you see, stumbling through the city, accidentally sets off a chain of events
Okay.
that fulfills the prophecy.
They succeed by failing.
Only Rincewind could manage that.
It's a reminder that even the most unlikely heroes can shape the fate of the world.
Or the disc, in this case.
Exactly. And their adventures don't end there, right?
Not at all. Their journey has changed them. They've seen the wonders and horrors of Discworld.
Faced their fears, discovered hidden strengths.
I'm sure Twoflower picked up some souvenirs along the way.
Oh, definitely. Probably a whole luggage full.
Most likely.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? What does it all mean?
I think it's a reminder that life is unpredictable.
Okay.
Plans go awry.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes all you can do is hold on and enjoy the ride.
Embrace the chaos, expect the unexpected, and never underestimate the luggage.
Well said.
And for our listeners, if you want to experience this chaotic journey firsthand,
Pick up a Discworld novel.
you won't regret it.
Just remember to pack a sense of humor.
You'll need it.
Until next time, keep exploring.
Let's keep questioning.
You can keep laughing. All right, so we left Rincewind and Twoflower staring death in the face.
Yeah, kind of a cliffhanger there. What happens?
Well, the gods, as we said, need to send a message.
Right.
And they've picked Rincewind. It's the most inept wizard on the disc to be their messenger.
Oh, the irony.
It's thick, isn't it?
It really is. It's like choosing a turtle to enter a race.
But Death, you see, he has this unique perspective. On the whole situation, he sees how absurd the gods' plan is.
I bet.
But also, understands why they're doing it.
So he's not helping, but not exactly stopping them either.
More like guiding them, ever so slightly.
Okay.
Just a nudge here and there.
Right. He's the ultimate observer.
You got it. Sees the big picture.
Sees how it all connects.
Precisely.
Which is, pretty profound for a guy who spends his days reaping souls.
Well, Death in Discworld, he's a bit more complex than your typical, Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
He's got this fascination with humanity.
Wow.
Our good side, our bad side.
So maybe he's got a soft spot for us mortals after all.
Maybe he does, and he sees something special in those two, Rincewind and Twoflower.
What, like their potential?
Maybe their ability to grow.
Even their ability to change the fate of the disc?
Could be.
So does he help them deliver this message?
Well, not in the way you might think.
Okay.
It's more of a subtle nudge, a cryptic clue.
Oh, of course, cryptic. It's death, after all.
Can't have him just giving it all away.
Right, so where does this clue lead them?
Back to Ankh-Morpork.
Back home.
Back home, but it's not a simple journey.
This is Discworld. It's never simple.
Exactly. Deserts, nomadic warriors.
Oh, yeah.
And even a trip through the counterweight continent.
The place where gold is, what, like sand on a beach?
Pretty much.
I bet Twoflower loved it.
Oh, absolutely. It was like proof that all those wonders in his guidebooks were real.
And Rincewind, well, he probably spent the whole time trying not to get eaten.
He had a few close calls.
But he changes, doesn't he?
He does. Still a coward, of course.
Right.
Also more resourceful, more adaptable.
Maybe even a bit braver.
Maybe a little.
And Twoflower, with his optimism and that belief that everyone's good at heart.
He's a good influence on Rincewind.
They really do balance each other out.
They do. The cynic and the optimist, the coward and the slightly less cowardly one.
And so they make it back to Ankh-Morpork. Do they deliver the message?
They do.
How?
Not in the way anyone expects, of course.
Should I even ask?
Rincewind, bless his soul, stumbles his way through the city. And accidentally, completely by accident, sets off a chain of events that fulfills the god's prophecy.
So they succeed by failing.
Only Rincewind could manage that.
It's almost poetic.
It is, isn't it? It reminds us that even the most, incompetent of heroes can play a part in shaping things.
Right. Even change the fate of the world.
The disc, in this case.
But their adventures don't end there, right? This journey, it's changed them.
It has. They've seen the best and the worst of Discworld.
Faced their fears.
Found some hidden strengths they didn't know they had.
And probably picked up a few interesting souvenirs along the way.
Knowing Twoflower, a whole luggage full.
So what's the big takeaway? What's Pratchett trying to tell us?
I think it's a reminder that life, well, it's unpredictable.
It is.
Even the best plans, they
Yeah.
can fall apart. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just hold on and enjoy the ride.
Embrace the chaos, expect the unexpected.
And never underestimate the power of a good luggage.
Words to live by. So thanks for taking us on this deep dive into Discworld.
The pleasure was all mine.
For our listeners, if you haven't already, check out Terry Pratchett's Discworld.
It's a wild, hilarious, and surprisingly thought-provoking journey.
You'll laugh, you'll think, and you might just learn a thing or two about yourself along the way.
Until next time, keep exploring
Keep questioning.
and keep that sense of humor handy.